we call the meeting to order. It's 11 o'clock. Michelle, may I have a roll call? Rich, here.
Stansel. Here. Clifton.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, there you go, Mark.
I'm up? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you've already heard a lot of my story. Yeah, my name is Mark Fredericks. I am the sales rep for the Henry Atkins company out of Clinton, Missouri. We cover the states of Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Tennessee, and I can't remember a little bit in one other state. Maybe I don't keep up on everything that they do down there, but yeah. So, but our mainstays are Missouri, Iowa, and Kansas, and we've sold in those states for a long, long time. We represent Unisyn Voting Solutions, which you guys currently have. You currently have the OVO and the OVI model. Our newest models are now the FVT and the FVS. We are on the right, it is on the right side of this. That is our 10X system, which you should buy from us also, but that's for another day. So. That's our
slide.
Well, yeah, the groundwork is laid. Good job.
I am a salesman, I'm sorry. That's our poll book solution, like your precinct atlas solution. Only it's iPad based.
Oh.
And by the map, and that map has changed a lot also with the blue dots. That's who has that system in the state of Iowa from us. The right side is the current system I'm showing you. That map is out of date also, and I apologize for that, but I don't have any new brochures. This map is the current. We are everything that is red and green on this map, or yellow and green, red and green, yellow and green.
Do you have, these are,
This map, but it's
the
changed
yellow
because
is
Wayne now has our system, and
so there's more on here.
yeah, and the ones that are still listed as OVOs have changed a lot. So the green are the OVOs that you guys currently are. The yellow has updated to this system. So out of 74-ish counties, I think we only have, I was telling these guys, Plymouth has updated, Calhoun is going to update, Floyd's going to update, Humboldt, Pokey are talking about it, and Clark and Decatur have tossed it around too, and Jackson's also talking about it. So
we currently have the OVO and OVI, and you're recommending upgrading to the
FVS, FVT, yes. Which are the two systems that I have right here. So the FVS is the scanner that replaces the OVO, and the FVT is the ADA device that replaces the OVI. Okay? So, with that, this is how it looks on your ballot box. Our equipment currently comes in cloth bags. This stuff all has its own top. It locks, it seals, so you're kind of double secure. So you can lock it and seal it, so when they come in the morning, they have to register the seal from the number that Shelley and her staff puts on it. Unlock it, open it up. It now comes with privacy side panels. You just swing down and set into place.
And that's the voting machine?
Yes.
That's it?
That's it.
So then it goes,
So we're doing away with paper then?
Nope, you're still paper. I'll get to that.
Okay.
So the cord just plugs into the back. And I should do that before I set it up, it's easier.
Michelle, how do you have enough plug-ins on some of these little precincts? You just put power strips and...
Yeah, but you really only need, you need one for this, and then just take one or two, we'll get to that.
One, that's another thing.
Yeah.
That's all they-
And then the laptops, we just run power strip.
So for you guys, your TMs are now right here in the front. It's just a round key, like you currently have, unlocks, and there's your TM.
Okay.
So it's easy for the poll workers to get out at the end of the night.
So what is that?
It seals, that's what registers all of the votes. All of the votes are registered on that TM, which stands for transport media, which is a thumb drive, jump drive, but somebody got paid big bucks to come up with the name transport media, so it sounded different. Is
Okay.
how I was describing.
So
It is-
every vote is downloaded on the thumb drive, and at the end of each night, your poll worker pulls that out and
That's what comes back to me.
comes back to you. So
Yes.
they, is
That's got
that,
results.
so they drive that over at the end of each night?
So what is the thumb drive? Is it blank before you put it in there, or what's on there?
Shelley, these guys program it, so it reads the ballots for that precinct. It is programmed for that specific precinct,
Okay.
okay? It also has an internal TM and an internal solid-state hard drive, okay? Your current equipment has an internal TM and it has a spinning hard drive, which is outdated, okay? By spinning, it's the original hard drives that were invented. This is solid state, there is no movement on the hard drive, it's a solid state hard drive, which is much better. So every vote is recorded in 3 spots. So if this goes bad, the internal hard drive and the internal TM have it on it. If the internal TM goes bad, this TM and the hard drive have it on it, or the hard drive has it.
So you
it's-
have 3 backups, kind of?
You have 2 redundancies to the main TM. Yes, yes. Okay, so as I said, this swings out. Try to back up so you guys can see.
Oh, we can see it. You're okay.
Okay, the screen lifts up and angles into place. Much larger screen than what you currently have, much easier for the voter to read. If a wheelchair person comes up, you can tilt it forward so it's easier for them to read.
Okay,
Or you
that's
can tilt it any which way you like, okay? It's adjustable. Just turns on in the back. Now, I might have to make some keystrokes today because I'm in test mode like you guys are when you do your testing. But when the poll worker, the PBO, turns these machines on, you currently take around 3 to 4 minutes to boot up. This takes about 45 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So it's much faster. So when they turn it on in the morning, it boots up, it prints a zeros report, and they're ready to go. They don't have to do anything else. All they have to do is open it up, plug it in, turn it on, it prints a zeros report. What the zeros report is telling them there's nothing on this machine. Okay, it's everything, every candidate has 0.
What happens if I'm a sinister person and I don't turn in the thumb drive and the big city doesn't catch it? Then what would happen in the morning when you turn it on and it's already got the day before voting?
It doesn't have any day before voting. I'm not following.
No.
You have to pull that thumb drive every night, right? What
No.
At the end
Well,
of
night of
election
election.
At the end of
End of
election.
election, got
night.
it.
Election.
So these guys program it, they can test the equipment, which all these people that are questioning things can come and watch at any time if they so choose, and you also do a public test, which they can come and watch if they so choose. So our machines are in test mode 24/7 up until election day. Okay, so on election day at 12:01 a.m., our machines go into election mode. So these guys can test and test and test all day long, okay? I just have to make these keystrokes because I am in test mode,
So
okay?
who changes it from test mode to election
The
mode?
machine does. What
Okay,
happens?
so machine is programmed to go out of test on the day of election.
12:01 a.m. on election day.
Who sets that?
These guys set the time. Every time they install a new election on this machine, it comes up and asks them to set the date and time. Okay? We cannot display it because the EAC will not allow us to display time. That is not our choice, that is the federal law. They don't want time being shown because a voter comes up at 8:02 and puts his ballot in and he sees 8:02 on there and he thinks, they just timestamp my ballot and they know how I voted.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why we can't display time, we get asked that, and that's one of the reasons we can't. There's a few other reasons, I'm not privy to all of them, but we cannot display time.
So what would be the purpose of that? Why not, this seems very complicated for just a simple tabulator.
What's the purpose of what?
With the purpose of setting the day of the election or being from test mode and not test mode, I guess I'm not, it just seems.
Because we want it in test mode, so these guys can test, if they feel, okay, I'm not really, I wanna make sure it's always in test mode. We don't want it live to be registering votes until election day.
But I guess I'm not, so what? If there, I mean, obviously, anything before election day, this is just a tabulator, right? So.
Exactly,
whatever-
I guess it's probably the ease of these guys having to be able to test instead of having to wipe it all completely out, reformat a thumb drive and re-download the thumb drive to put the election back on it to go back into
I see.
live.
Okay.
Because once you're live, it's putting the votes, these votes are not being registered, and they're being wiped out as soon as you go out of test mode.
Okay. I see what
Okay.
you're saying.
Okay. So, it comes up in the morning for you guys. That's the printer now, the paper is much wider, much easier to read, faster. Even though your other one was fast, this is faster. And it will come up and it will show you 0 in the bottom, just like you currently have, and they're ready to go. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll go to this machine. This is your FET. Every precinct has to have an ADA compliant device. Okay, that is federal law. All right, this device meets that. Once again, like I said, it's lockable and sealable. When you open it, the top comes completely off. It is a tablet-based system. Your current one has a fixed tablet that sits right here. This one is adjustable in 4 different spots. So if you're gonna have it at a table where they're gonna sit down to vote on it, you're gonna have it in the upright spot. If they're standing, you might put it in one of these spots. So it's adjustable by 4 different spots wherever you put this key.
Okay.
Okay? In the back, we have the power cord, the keypad and the headset if a blind, sight impaired person is going to use it. Okay, so that's all contained in the back. The keypad is hooked up, it now has Braille. Where we got complaints because it didn't have Braille before,
Yep.
it now has Braille. Even though we're still told that they don't teach Braille in the blind community,
Oh, my sister's blind.
yeah, does she use Braille?
She can.
Yeah, I mean, this also has, and I don't go into it today, but this also has Smart Reader on it, which is what the blind use on their smartphones. So it's 2 fingers down, 2 fingers up, and they're very fast and very good at it. We can put this in the screen reader, so it's easy. So if you know you have some blind that are coming to the precinct that vote unassisted, we can get you into that mode, so it's very easy for them to sit down and vote on it. They hated the OVIs, they love these. The blind community did not like the OVIs, they love this system. They love this. Okay, so this just plugs in the back, turns on. Both systems are now battery backup. Okay, where your other system did not have battery backup, these both have battery backup.
How long does the battery last?
I'm gonna say roughly 3 to 4 hours. It can be probably as short as 2 if it's constant voting, 2 to 3, and probably as much as 6 to 7 if it's just not that busy.
So worst case scenario, say one of our more rural precincts loses power.
Right.
Is there a way to go back to analog, for lack of a better term, to where they can vote paper?
They'll vote paper and they'll put it in the emergency slot, and I'll show you that later. Yep. So yeah, you're never down. If you lose power and you're out for all day and the battery goes dead, then they're gonna continue to vote on just the paper ballots. Okay, and they're gonna put it in the emergency slot, and then you'll deal with your power issue whenever that becomes available. Okay? So, this machine comes up, prints a zeros report just like your OVI, everything looks the same. Okay? They're gonna look at public count, they're gonna say 0, they're gonna say good. So they're gonna turn them both on, 45 seconds, they're ready to roll. Okay? So, the other reason we put time in is because at the end of the night, when the election closes at 8 o'clock, this has to know what time the election closes at. And I'll get to that when we get there. So, now, voting on this machine. You're gonna fill out paper ballots, just like you currently do, okay? You're gonna fill in the ovals, you're gonna come up, doesn't matter which way you put them in, upside down, right side up, and you guys can probably tell the speed difference between this and your other one.
Oh my gosh.
I voted, yeah, I voted wrong.
Uh-huh.
So it's gonna immediately, it's gonna print that out, so it's gonna catch that.
It'll kick it back.
I don't know if you just saw.
Oh, will it
I-
kick it out?
What do you mean voted wrong?
If she overvoted
I
her.
overvoted.
Yeah, I'll show you that.
Oh,
Okay, so if you overvote,
Yeah, 'cause I
you're gonna come up,
Vote for the right candidate.
you're gonna come up.
I was
it's
just
gonna
saying, what does she mean?
It's
Clarify
gonna
that.
spit it back and it's going to give you,
I
it's going to give
overvoted.
you a, it's going to give you a piece of paper that tells you what you did wrong. The thing I love about that is, in this day and age, when people don't like you seeing their ballots, they're worried about people seeing how they voted. This allows them, if they say to the table of PEOs, hey, it's spitting my ballot back. From the table, the PEOs can say, did it print a piece of paper? Yes, okay, bring that to us and you can hang on to your ballot. Then they'll say, okay, you overvoted for president and attorney general. This tells them what they did wrong. Okay, so they can say, ma'am or sir, do you want to spoil that ballot? 99.9% of the time, they're going to spoil that ballot and they're going to re-vote because they don't want to vote wrong, just like you.
So I'm gonna bring that up, both pieces, the ballot and this, take it to one of the
Right.
clerks and say, I voted wrong, and then they will spoil the
They
ballot.
will spoil the
give me a
ballot
new
and
one.
give you a new ballot.
How
Okay?
many times do you let them do that?
3 strikes and you're out.
3 strikes and you're out.
Okay, so by the 3rd time, you either vote it the way it's wrong, or you go home and they spoil the 3rd ballot and you don't vote.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you choose to vote this, okay, you say, I don't have time, I just want to run it through, just run it through. They'll tell them, okay, go up and feed it, we'll kick it back, so it'll pop a box up that says accept ballot. Touch the box and we'll put a check in it and feed the ballot. So now what it did is it counted everything that was voted correctly, and it didn't count anything in the races that were overvoted. That's law. Okay? So they can vote that ballot. If you have somebody that comes in that says, I want to be registered to vote, but I don't want to vote for anybody, they won't even tell them that. They'll just go through the line and they'll come over and they'll put their blank ballot in. Before would accept it, this one will not. Okay? It'll kick it back and say, you made no selection. Is that what you want to do? They can hit accept ballot and feed it through. The reason it does that is because if they don't use the pen that's provided in the polling place, they use their own and it's red, it won't see it. If it's a yellow or a green highlighter, it probably won't see it. If they mark with something that it can't see, it's going to say no selection. Excuse me. So the reason this kicks it back is if they say, I did make a selection, then you're going to go, okay, you didn't use the proper pen, so we need to spoil that ballot and give you a new one. But if they're blank ballot voters, which there's a few of them out there, they're just going to learn to hit accept ballot and feed it through.
Really? You go in and put in a, you do that?
Because they want to be on the rolls that they
They want to
voted.
be on the rolls that they voted.
But they don't really vote.
Does it
They
do
don't-
that
No, but
for,
they quit getting the calls.
There's nobody they want to vote for. So
So
they,
what about
but they
they
want to
skip-
register, they want to be on the rolls that they voted. What
what
was
if they
that?
skip an election? Like say for instance, they don't want to vote for a trustee, they
Right,
just
if
skip.
they
it.
undervote, it will just take it just like normal. You can set this
Well, you can
machine,
leave it blank if you don't
you
want to vote
can set this
for it.
machine to kick back on undervotes, but you'd be kicking back 90% of
So
the
that's
ballots.
why I asked that question.
Yeah.
maybe that's-
Sure, because there are people, if you just don't like any of them, you just don't vote.
Or you don't know.
You don't
then
know.
Just, yeah.
Right,
It
right.
does not kick back undervotes the way
And
it's
there
set.
are people that do just go in and vote for like maybe just the president, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just reading some ballots so I can get a paper tape for the end of the night. Once again, like I said, it does not matter how you put it in, right side, you can see how fast this is.
So what's the software-based program for these?
Oh, that one came back invalid ballot. Somebody asked me what happens if they rip the ballot or something like that. If they rip the timing marks out of the ballot, it will say invalid ballot and will not accept it. Okay, they'll have to get a new ballot. Okay? Somebody asked me yesterday, what if they mutilate their ballot? As long as it can start.
Would you mutilate your ballot? Do people do?
Well, if you don't, we have a machine that you can buy to do absentees, which is fast, but these machines are so fast that my smaller counties are kind of going, you know what, I don't need to spend the $8,000 for that, I could just have an extra machine as a backup
Yeah.
and use it for my absentee board.
Oh, you
Can
can
we
use
use-
what we get on ballots,
Yeah.
spill coffee.
Can we use the
this
existing
stuff.
machines we have as backup?
No,
No, we can't mix
No.
it.
no, no.
So when you take, if you take this one, you have to completely get rid of the old.
Because any upgrades will not be done to the old equipment, it will only be done for the new going forward.
But I mean, for like just a simple tabulator,
No,
like something breaks on this one, can we use it as a backup?
the price we got, we're trading all those in,
They're going.
Okay.
we're not keeping them.
Okay.
Oh, you've got so much good
So
money that
the-
you're gonna get rid of them.
The software-based program, what is that? Is it Linux?
Linux. Yep,
Everything here is made in America?
no. It's assembled in America, nobody has a board that's made in America, nobody has a chip that's made in America.
Okay,
They can tell you they do, but they don't because there's no chips manufactured in the United States. There's no motherboards that are manufactured in the United States.
so is Unisyn an American-based company?
Yes, out of Vista, California.
Okay, so,
Everything is assembled in Vista.
okay, but there's no foreign investors, there's no foreign subsidiaries or mother companies or anything like that?
That I can't answer positively. There is a company, I think, that is over them, that's the International Totalizer Systems company that does gambling, counting devices that are affiliated with them. Unisyn started by building the system for Los Angeles County, and that's how they started.
But you don't know if there's any kind of foreign?
The International Totalizer Systems, yes, is part of Unisyn,
Okay.
yes.
Do we know?
Dominion is owned, Dominion is a Canadian company. ES&S is, everything they get is outside of the States. Yeah, so,
Do we know if any of the foreign investors are with, well, let's just pick the universal boogeyman, China? Do we know that?
yes, we know that they're not, yes.
Okay, so there's no Chinese
No,
association or
no.
anything with
And
this?
that, the ILTS is out of the Philippines.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so for this machine, with your other system, you had to enter the 5-digit code to bring up their ballot.
Yes.
Okay, you can still do that, but with this one, we now give you QR codes. Okay, so for every ballot style that your precinct has, you will get a QR code for that ballot style. So if Joe goes through the line and says, I want to use that machine, they're going to look up and they're going to say, okay, Joe gets ballot style 200.
Okay.
So the poll worker will come over and he will scan. Oh, I haven't opened this one yet, sorry.
Would this voting machine be placed in like a box or?
You mean with a surround around it for, you can put it wherever you want, yeah. You can,
We usually turn them where they're not facing the general area of the room. We usually have them turned where the person will sit maybe here, the wall's behind them, everybody else is here, so nobody can see how they're voting.
But these would actually be what they'd be voting on after they filled in the box.
So they fill out their ballot and then they put it in there. If they're sight and hearing impaired, they would use this machine.
Okay.
So this big
if they
machine's
choose
for the
to.
general public?
you're both for the
They're
general
both for
public.
the general
Yes.
public. These
So they-
are the machines, if you.
This is the counter, this is the tabulator that registers the votes. This is a big
Got
pen,
it.
okay? This makes a ballot. That's what this does. So Joe comes, he wants to use this machine. So the PEO comes over, they scan Joe's. They scan Joe's ballot, they hit start, and they walk away. Now it's got a set of instructions. If he needs to read them to understand how to use the machine, he can ask them how to use it, whatever works for their first time. If they're sight impaired, they will have the headset plugged in, they'll be using the keypad, and they'll step through all of this. So he will hit the arrow key, and he will go over, And you can use swiping technology just like your smartphones, or you can use the arrow. You vote, it's a vote for one, so it will not allow you to overvote, okay? You have to unvote to change your vote. What's nice about this is it's one race on one page. Compared to your
that's
current
nice. My other
system,
one's
it's
like-
large, it's easy to read.
Yep.
If you have people with dexterity issues that have a hard time filling in the ovals, or they're slightly blind and they can't see the ovals, this machine is a great piece for those type of people to use also.
Can you just take a stylus and?
You can get a stylus and touch it with a stylus also, yes,
So
yes.
if they have trouble.
So if you vote and you say, I didn't want to vote for Dwight Eisenhower, you have to unvote and change your vote. Swipe, you don't have to vote. If you do a write-in, it's going to take you now to a regular QWERTY keyboard, not an A through Z keyboard that they can't figure out half the time. And I always type my own name because I know how to spell it. Okay, and you'll hit enter. And it'll show you that you voted for Mark as a write-in, okay? You'll go over here, you'll vote, and then, okay, I'm done, so I touch done, and it now gives me a summary screen, just like your current does, okay? You can look through this and say, yes, that's what I wanted, or if you say on the no selection, I wanted to vote there, it will just take you back to that race and allow you to vote, okay? Once again, you don't have to touch the circle, you can touch anywhere in the target area to vote for that person, okay? Once you're done, you say done, and you say print. And just like your OVI uses the exact same paper, except now this paper's thinner, it doesn't curl as bad. So it's kind of, yeah, that's what you want. So with that, you're just gonna vote it, and you're gonna come over between, and now it's right side justified, you guys, so instead of the middle, so all they have to do is get it over against the side
Oh, okay.
and feed it, which is a lot better.
Yeah.
So if they are side impaired, they don't have to try and find that middle. And if you do it in the middle, it will not take it until it gets between the arrows.
Okay.
Right side up, upside down, doesn't matter. They just feed them.
So I'm confused. I'm voting on this way and feeding it into that.
This is, instead of you marking,
Yeah,
this is marking it for you. So it's giving you this ballot and it's showing you who you voted for.
yeah.
And that's who you voted
But that's
for.
only for those that need assistance.
No,
Sight
it's
impaired.
for 100% of the voting
You
population.
could walk in there and use this machine if you want
I
to.
have Cherokee County that's had this machine for a year and a half. Their PEOs, kind of unbeknownst even to the auditor and staff, started a competition to see how many people each precinct could get to use that machine.
So I don't have a paper ballot. I push it on this, it prints it out, and I go feed it on
Right.
that.
It's not counted until, when you get done, this will say, now install your ballot into the scanner, okay?
Or we could use a paper ballot.
Or you can use a paper ballot, okay? This is great, it's got its pluses. Like Shelley said earlier, all that's in there is a roll of paper, of blank paper. So if she runs out of ballots, because she maybe decided this isn't a really big election, and I don't want to buy 100% ballots because I'm going to try and save the county some money, so I'm going to order 75%, and then it turns something 2 days before the election blows up and everybody comes out and votes. If you run out of ballots, printed ballots, you're never out because you always have this blank roll of paper. So at the end of the night, when you're getting low, you can start taking people to this to vote on here and they can still vote.
Shelley, do we have any current rules or laws regarding how we have to have the ballot set up? Because these are, I mean, obviously that paper ballot gonna look different than that roll of paper. So are there any rules that we have in Iowa code where?
So the Iowa code just says what ballot, what order races have to be on the ballot,
Okay,
which aligns with how they were on here.
okay, so they
This
don't
is-
require watermarks or anything like
No,
that?
no. Both of these machines have been certified by the state of Iowa. We have to go through certification every time we develop a new system, machine, or do a software upgrade. We have to go to the state certification board and be certified.
Is that the same as the EAC?
No. Prior to that, we go to the EAC, we go through the testing labs, and we then go to the EAC. So there are certified labs out there that certify and test voting equipment, and they put it through a very rigorous, very expensive test that we do and pay for. After it's gone through the labs, and I think there's like 3 labs, there's 2 or 3 that are used. After it goes through the labs, it goes to the EAC. Then it comes to the states. Okay? Iowa is not an EAC state. by the way.
It's not.
No, it is not. Okay?
Huh, okay.
There's a lot of states that aren't. Okay, there's a lot of states that are. Okay?
Why
So,
would they be?
because they just never have been, and when the labs do the testing, the EAC basically is just signing off on the lab testing.
Okay. So
That's
it's not
basic.
really that,
Right. The EAC is not doing the testing. The EAC is looking at what we've developed and what we've done, they're looking at what the lab brings to them, and they're basically signing off on it. That's how I see it.
So Iowa doesn't do it, it isn't.
Iowa we have to be tested. We have to go through the
Right, I
labs,
get- yes.
we've always had to do that. And then we have to go to the board, and there's a 3-person board at the Secretary of State's office, and we have to take the equipment in there, and it takes a day or 2 days for us to go through everything with them. And they run ballots, and they test it, and they make sure that everything's kosher to the way it's supposed to be. Okay, they make sure that it's counted correctly, they make sure that the ballots are to Iowa code, they make sure of everything.
so you said that you have to go through this process for every software upgrade.
Yes,
So if and when we decide to purchase these, when the machines we get will have the most recent
it
software?
will be
correct?
2.2, which is the most recent software.
So what happened, is there any risk of there being a software change between now and either the primary or the general?
No. 2.3 is in works. We're 2.2, 2.3, because we're always in works. I mean, we're always
Right.
looking at making the system better and listening to what these guys say, hey, Mark, why doesn't it do this, that, blah. I pass that on and that gets looked at. Okay, so we're always in works, but 2.3 I don't believe is coming out this year. Not that I've heard.
What about standards for testing? What kind of standards do you use to test in the labs and to make sure?
That's,
You
no. Yeah.
What about, is this air gapped? Does it have the ability to connect to the
No,
internet?
no, it has no modem inside. We are the only system that I know of that does not have an internal modem. So it has no way of connecting to the outside world. It has no connections on the back, inside, that can connect to the outside world. So they're both air gapped from the internet. Your laptop never touches the internet. It has no way of connecting to the internet. We just
So
don't
no
put that
Wi-Fi access, no passive
No.
access, no Bluetooth, no nothing?
Well, it has it, but it's never connected. I mean, you can't buy a Dell computer. I mean, it's a Dell, or it's a, I think we're using Dells now. You're not gonna buy a Dell computer that's not gonna have some type of access, but it's never turned on.
Is there any way I could turn it on if I was a bad guy? Could I turn it on?
To the laptop,
Yeah.
the only thing about the
So I
laptop
could-
is this is where the votes are counted. The laptop, all it's doing is taking the votes and tabulating them and giving you a report, okay? It's not tabulating votes, it's just tabulating everything that's came in and putting it in one report to say the totals for Madison County.
So I guess the concern that members of the public have expressed is the ability to change the tabulation. So short of doing a paper hand count, this is the machine, and machines can be changed, to your point,
Okay, so
by
paper,
backup.
exactly, but the only way, if you've ever watched anything on the internet, they have everything open, taken apart, and they're connecting all over inside of the machine to try and hack it.
Not whether you do it wirelessly, no.
You can't, there's no modem.
But you said that there is, it can
But
connect.
he
wirelessly.
didn't
My
On the
my
laptop.
laptop, I
On
have
her
one
laptop.
laptop in my office
Right,
that they bring those TMs to, and I put that in there, and that's what tabulates results. I manipulate the votes off of that laptop. That laptop is getting the information from that TM.
right, but
They-
what my point is, okay, so that may not be accessible, but the laptop could be, and it could be changed on the laptop. Once that.
You have the
is
paper
in.
ballots, you have the TM, and those are not going to change. That's why you have a paper ballot system. So if you question something and the state says, yes, I want it recounted, you're gonna recount the paper ballots.
Right, but the threshold for doing that is very high. So you have to be was it 1% or under 1% or something like that close in order to force a recount, otherwise it's the cost of the campaign to do a recount.
But we do a post-election audit after every election.
We do a random
Just for
post,
one precinct though, right?
But the state.
but it's totally random, and they have no way of, we have no nefarious actor would have any way of knowing what one is going to be recounted.
So I'm not trying to imply that you guys are doing nefarious thing. I'm asking for the ones that wanna do nefarious things, because there's people out there smarter than us. So
They
my
cannot come in and connect to this machine any which way, how.
But the laptop does have, you
That's in
said-
her office and in a locked area.
Right, but Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter for locks.
But it all comes very quickly in the night, so we close down the machines, there's runners, we go grab the TMs, and we hurry back to the office, right? Once we have those, we give those to Shelley, and in that envelope is also the report that is printed out that says there was 10 people who voted, and so when we put that TM in, the 10 people voted and the breakdown of their votes.
And then you
Does that
can
make
look at
sense?
it.
It's
No, I
not-
understand that, but the concern that's happened is votes are flipped. And when the concern we have with electronic machines is not necessarily the ballots or the users that are processing it, it's the after the fact where people can connect to a device, because it doesn't matter if the device is that or it's the laptop. As soon as if it has wireless or Bluetooth access, it is not air gapped, it can have.
But what she just said is you have your summary report, okay, and it shows you that Biden got 7,242 votes, and Trump or whoever it is got 7,000 votes, and Kennedy got 6,242. You then install that into your laptop, and it's gonna show you that Biden got 7,242, Trump got 7,000, and Kennedy got 6,242.
So you're saying that if a nefarious person wanted to go into the laptop, because you have that paper slip from
Right.
that, which is not connected to the internet.
Right.
If it flips it, you'll be able to
Right.
see by comparing
Right.
the two.
I compare those with every.
With everything.
They bring that in, they bring that TM to me, I look at the report they're also bringing with that TM that has their results on it. I compare that to what's pulled on my laptop once I upload that, and then once, after the election, once we count provisionals or anything like that, then I'm looking at that to confirm, okay, we had this many on election night, there were this many provisionals, here's the election summary from that plus that is this, it all ties out. That all matches what was uploaded to the Secretary of State's office. So
Yeah,
I'm double checking, I'm not just taking it and being like, yep, that looks good.
In all my
and moving
time in
on.
elections, and I've been around a lot of recounts, I've never seen one that's been off by probably more than 2 votes.
Well, some folks might disagree with you recently, and that's why I'm asking all these questions, because we're asking the public to pay quite a bit of money for new equipment, and again, I'm not opposed to new equipment necessarily, but 2, it's also in a year that, in an election year, that there's a lot of eyeballs on it.
Okay, so you're gonna use your old equipment or you're gonna use the new equipment?
Right.
You're gonna use equipment.
Right, but we don't have something like this, and that's, I wanna make sure.
It's the
that-
same exact software.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do.
Not with a screen like that.
Well, but it's still got a screen on
It's
it.
just a
Screen.
smaller screen.
It's a smaller screen.
It's the same.
Your
It's the
ballot
same
card
thing,
machine
it's the
that
same
you use at
exact,
the
the
Early
software,
Community Center.
everything is the same.
Just
So
like
if
that,
that's,
just
so let
smaller
me ask you
screen.
this, if that's the case, then why do we need to upgrade?
Because you're a spinning hard drive, the technology is starting to pass you by, the equipment is just like any piece of electronic equipment. That laptop's not gonna last 8 years. You're gonna replace it. I mean, because it doesn't keep up with the times, it doesn't keep up the speed of the machine,
And it gets worn out.
and it gets worn out. She's starting to have SATA cable problems. The SATA cables, they corrode, and because of being in the environment, and then it doesn't, so we gotta come in and take care of those. If I take care of it, and then she turns it off and turns it back on 2 days later, and then it doesn't work, I mean, it's just keeping up with
Because
technology.
these are just tabulators though, it's not like there's a million lines of code. So I guess my concern is, you know, I understand with laptops and computers, they do a lot more than just tabulating. These are just dumb tabulators. I guess I'm trying to understand what it is that it's doing. I can understand that one for the folks that need assistance. I'm totally on board with that. But the ones where it's just tabulating ballots, I don't understand.
So when I'm talking like 2.2 and going to 2.3, the motherboards on your current OVOs will probably not handle 2.3. So then you're now back on 2.2, where the rest of the state and people that are upgraded are on to 2.3 and 2.4 and 2.5, and you're back here on 2.2, and there again, you're gonna have the perception, is that good or is that bad?
Well, if it's still tabulating, I guess my question is, if it's not.
As a salesperson, I can't argue with you with that. I mean, that's for you guys to decide.
So this
I
is
mean,
why
when
I'm
you talk
asking the
about, when
question.
you talk about hand counting, the people that are out there talking about hand counting, so you really, first off, where are you gonna get the people? Because PEOs are even hard to find. So you're gonna have 2 people counting ballots here, 2 people, you're gonna have 60 people around the room counting ballots. Who's gonna watch what these 2 over in the corner are doing for counting? Who's gonna watch what those 2 people over there are doing? I mean, they can mark down anything they want when they're hand counting. You can have nefarious stuff by hand counting. If you wanna talk about machines flipping ballots, they can flip ballots just as easy, correct?
It is a lot harder than a machine that can be programmed to do so.
Well, I don't agree with that.
No, I don't either.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean, I don't agree with that, because they can do whatever they want when and they're back there and they're starting to get tired, and it's Joe and John, and they're saying Joe, Joe, John, and he went Joe, 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 because he's getting tired. Who's gonna watch what's going on with that? You're gonna have to have hundreds of people, and it's gonna take months.
No, because other countries do hand counting and it doesn't take
For
months to come.
one race on one ballot. You're gonna count every race for the auditor, for the sheriff, for the judges, for the township trustees. You're gonna go down everything on every ballot?
It's been done before. So again,
Not in my
I'm asking these
lifetime.
questions on behalf of the folks that are gonna be paying for it.
Right.
And because there's gonna be a lot of eyeballs on this race, I think we need to make sure there's due diligence that concerns are
Agreed.
addressed. So, so this is why I'm asking all the questions.
I agree.
If I wanna cheat, I'm gonna cheat with mail-in, I'm gonna just throw them in the garbage.
So we wanna make sure that if we're gonna be spending this kind of money.
We keep track of all of that, so it's not that simple.
No.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
no,
things
it's-
that happen that we don't tell everybody.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
not
do
business.
catch all this.
So Iowa probably has a much more robust,
Oh, by far.
system to ensure election integrity than other states. So, but there's a lot of nervousness out there, the more we upgrade to electronics, given other things that have been said in the news, and the fact that, it's in this particular election. So,
I'm a registered Republican. I voted for Donald Trump. What's being said out there, nothing has been proven. Nothing. He has not proven one flipped vote.
that's because he's never been able to present evidence. But this is not the discussion I wanna have.
Okay.
I'm not having this discussion about a president. My concern is.
I'm not having a discussion about the president
I
either.
wanna
I'm
make
just saying.
sure that if we have members of the public who are paying for this, who
Right.
have concerns, I wanna make sure that the questions they have, which have been shared with me, are being asked.
Yes.
But
I
none of
agree.
those people that have shared that have come to the election administrator, no one. So I don't know why they're not being referred to me.
Well, they're sending
so I
it to
can-
me because of the.
Okay, so with that, with pre-testing that these guys do, and then they do the public test. So if those people come to the public test and they watch, and she puts her ballots through and says it should come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it comes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's proved that that machine's counting right. Now it goes out to the precinct. Now they think the nefarious stuff is coming in and they're flipping votes at the precinct. But afterwards, the Secretary of State emails, calls, however they do it, and says, I want you to audit precinct 4. They audit precinct 4 and it comes out exactly like the paper tape that came out of the machine. I mean, people don't hear those things. They don't watch those things, they don't hear those things. I get it, I totally get that it has to prove itself. And to me, machines make mistakes, don't make mistakes, humans do. In more ways than,
But humans program machines, so that's why I'm asking questions. Shelley, regarding the recounts, that's all done, for the audits, that's done by hand, right? Paper hand count, you don't use the machines for that?
So for an,
Explain now, you did Patterson.
post-election audit, they are done It depends, but they are normally done the same way as election night. If it's absentee and we only have to do so many, then we have to take however many that is, feed those through the machine so we can get that total. Cause they don't, if your absentee precinct is selected, they don't make you do an audit of all 5,000 ballots. It's up to 2,500, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta get a new total there, so you gotta use the machine. But then on a normal, another precinct, then you're hand counting. So you're taking those ballots and we're counting the first race on ballot style 1. So if that's the presidential race, we're putting Trump's ballots here, Biden's ballots here, Kanye West's here. So the team is sorting those out. And then they're counting them by hand to ensure that that matches what happened on election night.
And when they do the audits for that, does the Secretary of State tell you which race, or is it the entire
So
ballot?
the code determines the race.
Okay.
So yes, it's always the first race on the first ballot
Okay.
in that precinct is
Okay.
always what it is. So the only time you would vary from that is we had, in the last city school election, our post-election audit was the precinct that was selected, the first ballot style got no votes. It was a Nottoway Valley, I think, was maybe was the ballot style that was picked, or Orient Maxburg, I can't remember. Nobody voted in it, nobody voted absentee, nobody voted at the polls, and they found out there was a lot of precincts that were that, or counties that were that way, so they reselected a different, we moved to the second ballot style in that precinct. So that's a way that we can double check. The Patterson was a called recount, so when that happened, they counted them by hand. They went through and sorted and counted, okay, this person got this many votes, this person got this many votes, this person got this many votes, they counted by hand.
Luckily, that was an
the same as
easy
election
hand
night.
Can anybody, would the Secretary of State determine if you make a recount? Why did he just get to have it recounted?
Because anybody can petition it, anybody can call
Anybody
it
can
recount.
petition to have a
But is that limited by within a percentage? Like you
Yes.
have to be within a percentage,
Yeah.
and only the candidate
And it
can do
has to be it has to be called by a candidate or someone who received a vote.
And they pay for that, or,
Depends.
Depends.
Yeah,
Depends if it's
there's a
within a
variance,
percentage.
yeah, if there's a variance of a certain percentage, then they have to pay, if there's not, then, yeah. So, we do have ways that we are double checking to ensure that, and I get the taxpayers are paying for this, but if I don't upgrade and something goes haywire on the presidential election, it's not gonna be my head. Like, I'm gonna say I tried to upgrade and
You have the map, and we can send Shelley, I think she has the updated map of who has this equipment.
yeah, and
I tell
guess-
everybody, call the other counties and ask them what they think of it. Call the auditors. I'm not gonna tell you, okay, don't call Bryan County, but maybe call Cherokee County, but don't call Jackson County. I'm never gonna tell you.
So have other counties had run elections on this particular version?
We had 13 counties that ran their general election, a year ago
On 2.2?
on 2.2.
Okay.
And we had, whatever, 45 or whatever that ran it for the city school.
Okay, but
And all the
nothing,
specials in between.
okay, but not a presidential election yet?
Yes, well, no, the general election a year ago.
Okay,
A year ago, November, the general election, it had just come out, we had 13 counties that bought it. We got it installed in little or no time, and it was not that far out from the election, and everything went smoothly.
so do you, for these systems, is there anything done to test them, or is it just our folks that test them? Does the company come in and do some kind of certification to make sure it works okay, or is that?
We have to certify them with the state, like I said. Once you guys purchase, I come in, I have a technical background, I come in, I do maintenance once a year and test the equipment to make sure that everything's counting right to our standards. Make sure that the scanners are working the way I want them to work. These are working the way I want those to work. I do that once a year. And then the testing part is left up to them. But when we print your ballots, we test every ballot that we print before we send ballots to you.
Okay, so you guys always also print our ballots
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Okay.
and that's
For the
part of the
reason-
price, or we pay?
No, we pay for that.
The reason that we print your ballots is because if there's a problem, Shelley's gonna say, Henry Atkins is my dealer, they do my programming, they print my ballots, you need to talk to them. Whereas if Joe over here printed your ballots and we did the other stuff and there's a problem, Joe's gonna say it's their programming and we're gonna say it's Joe's ballots.
Yeah.
What's the life of this?
We're now saying 8 years. It's gonna be 8 to 10 years. You're not, 10 is getting out, that's getting out there compared to what's gonna come down the pike. And we don't know what's gonna come down the pike. This stuff is all grandfathered in. I had somebody ask me the other day, what about ranked choice voting? Yes, we can program this to do ranked choice voting. So if Iowa looks at ranked choice voting, you can do it.
You had said earlier that you don't know the standards used for testing. Is there any way you can get that to us, like what standards they use?
Yeah, I can have Unison send that to Shelley.
That would be great. And then Shelley, what, you mentioned earlier that there was an issue with our current machines or having problems. What?
He talked about that.
I talked about that,
They're old.
yeah. And
I know
then,
they're old, but
well, there was
what's breaking down?
SATA cables that are a communication cable inside. When it's in the environment, they start to corrode, and then the information doesn't go through them like it should, and then it gives you a warning code. It says, I can't work because this is not, it self-tests itself.
And those can't be replaced?
Yes, they can be replaced, but
Or
it's,
you can just replace pieces of it.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
think that's risky business.
also, when we get to the 10-year thing, we have guaranteed in the past 10 years of parts. We're not saying that anymore either, because it goes too fast and our companies won't keep those parts for 10 years.
So you're saying the existing equipment we have right now, can't get parts for it?
It's getting there, yep. Yep, the scanners are no longer made, we can part them out, but there again, then we're robbing a machine over here that has an old scanner in it to make yours work, those type of things.
And ours are currently 7 years old?
8, they're going on 8
They're
this
going on
year.
8,
Yeah, we
okay.
got them in 2016,
Okay.
so.
And you have to drag these around to every precinct and haul them in and out.
And it's just one per precinct?
One
of
per
each
precinct.
One of each precinct.
Some counties, Dubuque County just upgraded to this system. They use it for the city school. He put 2 of these in every precinct. Because he's trying to promote people to use those. He likes them, he wants people to use those, so he's putting 2. This is a great piece. The downfall of this piece is one person at a time can vote. Whereas if you have table space, however much table space you have, that many people can vote at one time and come up and scan it. Only one person at a time can vote on this. If it's a long ballot, it can take them 5 to 10 minutes. So the states, there are states out there that use only these, and they don't have paper ballots. They have these, and they run through here. When you see the lines that are out back around the blocks, they're using those because they can't judge when 100 people are going to come in. Okay, so 100 people come in and they bought 4 of those. Well, only 4 of those 100 can vote at one time. When those 4 are done, then the next 4 can go, or the next 1, or whatever. That's where you get your backup of lines. Okay, Iowa uses paper ballots, which is the smartest system. Any of my competitors out there, it's pretty much a paper ballot system. But there are ones that promote only those, and they don't use a full-size ballot. They just use those.
So if you're 18, I'll bet you use that.
You know
And
what?
if you're older, you'll use the paper ballot.
That's not true.
It's not,
It's not.
really.
Where we have seen it, the older people, me, are gravitating towards that. I don't vote on it. I vote on a regular ballot. But the older people are gravitating. They can't make mistakes. It's easier for them to see. It's just an easier way to vote, and they gravitate towards it.
So it's the elderly people that use that one. Interesting.
The young use it too, but I mean, because you're right, because they love
They grew up
technology.
on it.
But-
They also understand technology.
Right,
Why they
right.
like going old school.
Right.
Speaking of that, you said you had testing. Has any of it been intrusive testing where you intentionally tried to either get in the system, do nefarious things?
Unison has done that.
Unison has done that, okay.
Sure, so you try to do bad things.
So is that part of?
We don't personally,
But they-
Unison does.
Unison
That's,
does.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they've hired white hats to go in there and
Mhm.
try to, okay. Is that part of the information that you can have them send us? And
I don't, There again, I'm not gonna guarantee you what Unisyn can send you. I will contact my company, they will contact Unisyn, and we'll be in touch.
I think kind of, obviously don't want to know exactly what they do from a security standpoint, but I think
Well,
if
you're
you
not
have,
gonna.
if you have a higher level understanding of, this is what we do to ensure integrity
Agreed.
and all that kind of stuff,
Agreed.
I think that will.
And I get it, when your constituents are coming to you, I get it, you wanna have the answers for them, I get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I think that's all the questions I
Okay, I will just show you closing, so you guys, it's the same close card.
Okay.
At the end of the night, you run your close card. Same thing, it's gonna ask you, do you wanna close voting, are you sure you want to close voting? If this would be on battery backup, because the power went down, it will not allow you to close on battery backup.
Okay.
Because it does not want it to die halfway through
Oh,
this,
okay.
printing your report, and then something happens with the TIA because it was on battery.
Sure.
So it will not allow you, so if they don't have power there, they're gonna have to bring it to the courthouse or take it to a building. If you have people that go out to assure whatever, they're gonna have to get it to power to
Okay.
close, just so you know that, okay? So it's yes and yes.
So election is done, and we're closing it out over in our precinct. The stuff that I get in the car and drive fast and bring to you, what am I bringing to you?
Just that flash drive and that envelope. If there's an
And
envelope,
then we
we've got
sealed it
results
all up,
report.
we
So
have.
you're gonna have this in there, which is the summary report.
Yep.
You guys can look at that, easier to read. Then you're gonna do continue, and you're gonna do your writing report like you guys are used to. But the writing report on this is much easier to read.
Does that system have the ability to scan ballot images?
This does scan ballot images.
Oh, it does scan.
For the write-ins. Iowa does not allow us to use scanned images on the laptop.
Ah, okay. So
The
how would you
writings
count
speak
that?
Franklin.
How would you count, how would that be reported on here?
What's that?
As an other, like if someone did a write-in?
It's right here.
Right in.
It shows you the write-ins,
Oh, write-ins, okay.
and then they're right here.
Oh, I see, so you just scan
It scans the
only
image,
that part?
only that part. If the oval's filled in, it scans what's there. If they didn't write anything, they filled in the oval, it's gonna be blank.
Okay.
You can
You
tell
don't
that's
write
much
it
easier to
clearly,
read.
we can't
count
count.
it.
If you don't put your, if you don't fill in the oval, it doesn't count
It
it.
does not count it, that's Iowa law.
You call them
If the oval's not
recount
filled
all you
in, it's
want.
not considered a vote.
And if you can't read their write-in, you just, it's can't
We do the
count.
best we can, but there are times when they don't write hard enough or what have
Yeah,
you, so.
This is a lot better. The images are a lot darker.
But the machine does have the capability to, should Iowa law.
Oh, the
change,
machine can scan every ballot.
Can scan every ballot. And then what
So,
is it?
because there are states allow you to go in and it's called adjudication. It allows you to look at the ballot and allows you to adjudicate how that voter voted. If you circle the oval here, it does not count. Okay?
Okay.
If you make, somebody asked me, do checks and X's count? If they get it through the middle of the oval, it will count it. If they don't, it will not.
So
We
if
read,
it's an X, it wouldn't probably read an X, would it?
we read 1 millimeter line through the middle of the oval. That's what our machine reads. We have to tell the EAC and the labs how we read. We read 1 millimeter through the middle of the oval. Some vendors, I think, read left to right, top to bottom. Other ones read left to right, top to bottom. This way, we read right through the middle. So if they get a check mark like that with a pen, a dark pen, through there, it's going to read it. If they make an X through the middle, it will read it. If they get it on the top or the bottom of the oval and it's below the line, it's not gonna read it. You can't make it read everything. We did that one time. We had software that would read a dot and it was a nightmare.
It's like on here, some of these ovals aren't, like, some are outside the oval, some are meant to fill the oval,
Right,
but it's still
right,
counted.
right. If you get, yesterday they had me do a dot in the middle. If you get a dot in the middle, a filled in, I mean, just in the middle, you don't fill in the whole oval, it will read it because it's going right through there.
Okay. But if, say for instance, our legislature changes the rules, says they want to do a scan, you know, you have a paper ballot and they want to scan it, this machine can do that, so we wouldn't have to buy a new machine. Yes?
As far, I'm not.
Like if say our legislature changes the rules and says, yes, you can scan ballots other than just the write-ins, can this machine?
Oh, yes, oh, yeah, we have states that adjudicate. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, so.
Oh, yeah, it's totally able to do.
So Iowa doesn't allow that, so you don't do that, but the machine is capable of doing that should something
Right.
change.
Right.
Okay.
Because this was questioned by Iowa when we first introduced this 12 years ago, 14 years ago, whatever it was, when we introduced the writer report. And they deciphered that, well, no, you're really not, you're just scanning an image. You're not scanning the whole ballot, you're not adjudicating.
So if you have multiple write-in candidates,
So,
it'll show a different one.
so on here, I'm sorry.
So what
So
about
on here
those
where this says 1 of 1,
Uh-huh.
if that was a vote for 3, and they wrote in all 3, and by the way, that's John Smith off of that machine,
Yeah,
okay, where they did a write-in. But if they did all 3 write-ins, this would say 1 of 3. So they would know that they were all
So
off the
like-
same ballot.
So like, say for instance, we have, say for instance, supervisors, there's 2 people running.
Right.
2
So if it
positions.
said 1 of 2,
They
and
put-
they wrote Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, excuse me, I'm not being,
I understand.
yeah. So if they wrote Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck would get a vote.
And it would show an image of each
It
one.
would say 1 of 2,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
So, but if they wrote Mark Fredericks and Mark Fredericks, and it says 1 of 2, I can't get 2 votes. So then they gotta throw the second Mark Fredericks out.
Okay.
Because I can't get to, so they need to watch the right side in the multiple run races, okay? Because that way they know if it says 1 of 3 and they're all 3 different, they wrote in all 3 as write-ins and they all 3 get a vote,
Okay.
okay? And so that's it, it's just continue and shut down, and in 20 seconds the machine will shut down. This one, you're going to go into manual entry, you're gonna enter the password, you're gonna hit enter, you're gonna hit admin, you're gonna do close voting, yes, and yes. And the reason we do a close report on this, and you currently do it on your OVI, is because they need to know when they are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Reconciling.
Thank you. Reconciling ballots at the end of the night, how many were printed on that machine? Because if she sent out 1,000 ballots and you printed 100 on that machine, she's gonna be, the PEOs are gonna be 100 regular sized ballots heavy. So they need to know how many were printed, so that's why we do a closed report.
Who is this signed by, your precinct?
Yes.
Precinct.
All of them.
All of
of
it, they
them.
sign all the reports.
Let's
And
turn
they
that off.
usually do 2 reports, so one goes in the envelope.
I think,
At the end of the night, if you haven't been a PEO, the PEOs love this, because the current ballot box you have, all that comes off is right here in the middle. With this, the whole door opens up and allows them to get at their ballots.
easy.
So it's a much easier way for them to get the ballots. Now, the ballots are in here and they're all willy-nilly, all over the place, and that is by design, okay? So that way you can't go in here and say, okay, Bill Vanderberg was my 5th voter and I can count 5 ballots up and know how Bill Vanderberg voted,
Oh, okay.
okay? So that's why they're like that. These ballots are just laying in there all over the place inside too.
So you can't tell which order they were voted?
Right.
Okay.
And the machine doesn't allow you to close before 8 o'clock.
Right, that's why they have to put time in. So if it gets to be 7 o'clock and your PEOs, and believe me, this has happened, they're tired and they wanna go home, and they put the close card in at 7, it will kick it back and say, go sit down, you're not done. No, it won't be that. It will say, you cannot close, you cannot close the election at this time.
Pepper spray.
Okay, so if they run a closed ballot and it kicks it back, and they call in and say, hey, it's not taking our closed card, we just tell them, wait a couple minutes, because the time on your wrist or on the wall is not the same as the time that's in the machine, so just wait a couple minutes and then close. But if there's a line, you know, we're to the door, and there's 40 people in the precinct, and it's 8 o'clock, it doesn't matter, they can vote. Okay, you can close it at 9 o'clock, you can close it at 10, you can close it at midnight, you can close it at 4 in the morning. It's just, you can't close before 8 o'clock.
What is Iowa code? Let's say you had 100 people out there. You just stay there until they're done.
If they're in line.
You're
in line.
Yep, or in the.
Inside the door.
Yeah.
I think
in
it's
the-
inside
like
the
in
door.
line inside.
At 8 o'clock, you're supposed to go lock the door. Everybody
I'd like to
is inside
withdraw
the door.
being
How
a,
does,
Yeah, the inside.
so if that's the case, does the machine know that, or is it gonna shut off at 8?
No, it just said, you can close anytime after 8.
Okay,
Yes, so if you have 100 people lined up in here that are still waiting to vote at 8 o'clock, because they all just got off work at the factory at 7:45 over here, and they're all coming to vote,
Okay.
and they get inside the door, and however long it takes them, they can vote. And then you just close after they're done.
Okay.
So this just, the screen goes down, these hold in,
That's easy.
turn it off. We just laid it for a place that it doesn't have cord storage, so instead of them putting it in, and you can do whatever you want, but we generally just,
And these will be stored in the basement.
Will be stored, be secure.
Because
Those are locked up.
yep, every county's had to make a lot of changes as far as securing their voting. This just comes off here. I showed these guys earlier, this ballot box actually collapses. I'm not gonna go through that with you guys, because it just takes time, it's not that big a deal. Then this just collapsed down. Turn it off. This goes in here.
And the laptop, is that stored somewhere else? Is there a special case for that?
I have it stored. Yep.
it's all locked up.
Is
We
that
only
the
have
new one
one.
you got, or will be getting?
No.
But those are still case locked.
Okay.
And you have one laptop?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is,
How old is that one?
How old is it? Same age as our election equipment.
So that will be, is that gonna be, if we move forward, that will be
Yes.
replaced?
Yes.
Okay.
And you got a large grant for this, didn't you, or
$10,000.
No, that was for my precinct out.
This is not, we don't have any grant money that we can use for this?
Correct.
you did,
Precinct Dallas has changed, though. They're letting you connect now, aren't they?
You can, yes, you do not use, we use the offline, yeah.
What is that? What is that?
That's your, voter check-in. Precinct Dallas is what you check in.
When you check out.
when
Okay.
they come in, you're bringing them off.
Yeah.
And those what you use, that's what you use the grant for, is to replace those? Okay.
Okay, questions at all?
That's great. All right, thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
questions, appreciate your time.
Could we, could you get us an updated
Matt,
map
Yep.
with the,
I'll
who
send,
has what?
I'll have Dustin send that to Shelley.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come out. I
You bet,
appreciate
thank you, no problem.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys, we appreciate your business. We've done business with Madison County for a long time, and
Yeah, one thing I do appreciate about Mark and his team is if I have a problem, they're there. Like
we,
when
Good
we
customer
first rolled out
service,
new
quick response.
equipment back in 2016, they had somebody on site all day long, went around to the precincts, saw the county and all kinds of things. But if I have an issue with a machine, they're here, and so I appreciate that, even though he's far away and they're in Missouri or wherever, but I never have an issue with them getting here when I need them
We-
to, so I appreciate that.
unlike our competitors, we give you loaners, we don't charge for those. We bring them here, we don't charge you to get them here, that's all included in your yearly maintenance fees. We don't do the on-site stuff because this is so similar to what you're
Yeah.
using that you guys already know it.
Mhm.
But if we have new counties, we do provide that at no
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
But we do, like I said, we do provide loaners. If there's a software upgrade, we don't charge for that. We come in and do the software upgrade on your equipment. Any parts, all that stuff, you guys do pay yearly maintenance fee, but that's all covered under that.
Will the maintenance fee go up for
No.
these new?
No, and
It's the
actually, you'll
same.
save a year,
Yeah,
Okay.
because we'll give you a year warranty on this equipment, so you won't have to pay your maintenance fee for the year from the time we deliver till the time next year. So they'll prorate that out
Okay.
by the months that we, whatever,
Sure.
they'll give you the
Yeah.
12 months at no charge for maintenance.
yeah.
So if you have trouble, that you send a technician out and they fix it right away.
They send somebody out and they'll either fix it or they'll bring a machine with them to swap out with us as a loaner, yeah.
there was one election, we had to call you at 9 o'clock at night or something, and you responded and helped us through that situation, so
Mhm.
not
Yeah,
everybody.
I tell every one of our counties, Our cell phones are 24/7, and they are. If my phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning and it says Madison County, I'll answer it. Okay? If it's somebody else, no, I'm rolling over and going back to sleep. But if, yeah, and I've had that, and our forte, we feel, is the smaller counties. The larger counties, we have, but we have grown our business off of the smaller counties. Customer service is what we provide and what we want to do, and so, yeah.
Is this all you do, is election stuff?
Yep. We do some printing. We are originally a printing company that started in the 1800s. Some printing companies morphed into the election business because of printing ballots. So that's how we got into the election business. Started with, I can't remember what company it was, then we were Diebold, and then we went to Diebold, got out of the election business, and then we went with Unisyn.
So what was your printing company?
Henry Adkins and Son. Yeah,
Mine's-
somebody asked me yesterday, so who's Henry Adkins? I said, well, Henry Adkins started the company, and then his son Hank took over the business, and then Hank's son-in-law, Bill Vanderberg, took over the business from him, and now his son Dustin Vanderberg is the president of the company. So it's a family-owned company, run out of Clinton, Missouri, but that's how we just take care of customers, because that's where we know we shine.
My son works for Quad Graphic. Biggest printing company, I think.
Okay.
They've taken over everybody.
Yeah, well, printing has gone by, it's a whole different gamut, because you can print your own stuff, and so the printing world has really changed, Yeah, because I was in printing once upon a time also, so, yeah.
All right.
Copier business, all that good stuff.
I would take a motion, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I will second that. We will adjourn at 12:10.
Oh.
Or all in favor?
Also, Shelley and I discussed, we will give you up to 5 years of interest-free financing.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
so
very
your first
important.
payment, we would probably ask if you could do it in July, but if you told me you couldn't, we could deal with you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty flexible. Once again, being a family-owned company, we're pretty flexible on those things. So we generally do 3, but we discussed we would go up to 5 for you guys, so, and it would be interest-free. So there would be, just divide whatever the final figure is by 5, and that's what your yearly payments
So
are.
we get 5 years, because we're the cool kids?
We're cool.
That's right.
We're his favorite.
Okay, we still need to vote.
Yeah, vote to adjourn,
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry.
I said aye.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks you guys very much.